Before we begin this night prayer, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like this video. It helps more people find this space of peace, and you never know who might need it tonight. Some nights feel heavier than others, not because something loud is happening, not because of chaos outside, but because something quiet inside refuses to settle. I don't have the words for it tonight. And maybe that's the hardest part. It's not that I don't want to pray. It's not that I don't want to open my heart. It's just that everything I'm feeling doesn't seem to fit into sentences. The ache in me has no neat explanation. It just sits there, like a weight pressing down from the inside out, and I don't know where to place it. I don't know how to wrap it in language or even tears. I only know it's there, and I only know I need you. I used to think I had to speak clearly in order to be heard by you, that my prayers had to sound beautiful or brave or full of truth. But I've learned something softer over time. I've learned that you listen beyond the syllables, that you hear the silence, the trembling, the things we hold inside when we're too tired or too broken to let them out. So tonight, I come to you not with a list of requests or declarations. I come with a quiet that I hope you can read. I come with emotions that are still forming, thoughts that aren't ready to be named, and pain that doesn't want to be picked apart. I come just as I am, silent, unsure, and still hoping you'll stay near. There's a knot in my chest I can't untangle. I've tried, I've sat with it, I've cried about it, I've tried to reason with it, but it only tightens when I pull. It only resists when I try to fix it. So maybe tonight isn't about fixing. Maybe it's about releasing. Maybe it's about asking you to hold what I can't carry, even when I can't describe it. Maybe it's about trusting that you see it, even in the dark, that you know where it hurts, even when I don't point to the wound, that you already understand what my voice can't reach. There's so much inside me I've never said aloud. Not because I don't want to, but because I wouldn't know where to begin. How do I speak of the way my heart folds in on itself some nights? How do I describe the ache that hides beneath my smile? The way my mind races with things I pretend don't bother me? The way I scroll and scroll and scroll just to feel less alone and end up feeling emptier? The way I laugh in conversations but cry in the shower? The way I carry everyone else's weight and forget that I'm allowed to be carried too? I don't know how to explain what's been living inside me lately, but I do know this. I want you here, not to solve it instantly, not to erase it all, but to sit with me in the middle of it, to gently remind me that I'm not alone in my silence, that even if I say nothing, I am still known, that even if I'm too tired to reach out, you're already here, and you're not afraid of my quiet. You're not disappointed by it. You don't turn away from the things I keep hidden. You hold them carefully, like something sacred, because to you, I am not a problem to solve. I am a soul to be loved. Maybe I don't need the right words tonight. Maybe I just need to let the weight fall, to unclench my hands, to stop rehearsing the perfect sentence and just breathe. Maybe my breath is a prayer. Maybe my tears are a language. Maybe the way my body curls up in bed is my way of saying, please stay close. God, I don't have the words, but I need you. There are moments I wish I could tell someone everything, but I stop myself. Not because I don't trust people, but because I don't trust that they'll understand. I'm afraid of being too much, too sensitive, too messy, too confusing. So I swallow it down. I carry it alone. I smile when I feel like screaming. And then night comes, and it all catches up. And there I am, lying in bed, heart full of unspoken things, and nowhere for them to go. Except here, now, with you are the only one I trust with this level of silence. Because I've seen how gently you hold the pieces I'm afraid to show. I've felt you comfort me in moments I couldn't even admit I was hurting. I've watched how peace finds its way to me, not through logic or explanation, but through presence, through this quiet, sacred knowing you are here, and you understand even this, even me. So, tonight, I don't offer you a speech. I offer you my stillness, my breathing, my pauses. I offer you the parts of me that can't find their voice, the memories I've locked away, the fears I don't want to name, the grief that still lives in the corners of my heart, the shame I try to ignore, the loneliness I pretend isn't real. I give them all to you, not because I've figured them out, but because I don't want to keep carrying them alone. I don't want to keep pretending I'm fine. I want to be honest, even if that honesty is just sitting in silence with you. I don't know what healing will look like. I don't know what relief feels like anymore, but I believe you do. And maybe that's enough for tonight. Maybe I don't need to figure out the future or even understand the past. Maybe I just need to rest in the truth that I am safe in your presence, that I can fall asleep with all this unsaid and still be held, still be heard, still be loved. So, if you're listening, and I trust that you are, please hold what I can't say. Please stay close to the ache I can't name. Please be patient with the silence, and if my dreams carry these feelings with them, meet me there too. Wrap my sleep in peace, not answers, in comfort, not conclusion. And if I wake up still not knowing what to say, let that be okay, because you know me deeper than words, and that means I am never truly alone. I didn't realize how much I was holding until I got quiet. Sometimes it's not until everything stills that I notice the tension in my chest, the tightness in my throat, the way my hands stay clenched even when I'm doing nothing at all. I live with this quiet weight, this thing I never name, never explain, never even look at too long. I've learned to move around it, talk around it, smile around it, but I think you see straight through it. And maybe tonight, I'm finally ready to stop pretending I'm fine just because I don't know how to speak it aloud. You've always been the one place I don't have to perform. That's why I'm here again, not with poetry, not with perfect phrases, but with the rawness of just existing, just being a soul who needs you. I don't have the answers. I don't have a resolution. I don't have a timeline for healing or a neat little plan for getting better. But I have this moment. I have the soft courage to whisper. I don't know what to say, but I still want to be close to you. And I believe you receive that as enough. I wonder if you already knew I'd end up here tonight, lying on my side in a dark room, thinking thoughts I haven't shared with anyone. I wonder if you've been waiting patiently, gently, not pushing me to speak, not demanding words, just watching over me in quiet love, ready to catch whatever rises from this silence. I think maybe you've always been better at listening to what I don't say than I've ever been at saying it. Some things feel too tender to touch. There are memories I'm not ready to revisit, emotions that surface like waves I don't know how to ride, nights that still echo with things I can't undo. And sometimes just naming them feels like too much, so I carry them quietly, hoping maybe they'll fade or soften or settle without me having to look them in the eye. But they don't. They hum in the background of my life. They sit behind my smiles. They speak in my dreams. They follow me into the stillness. And so tonight, I bring them here, not because I'm strong enough to face them, but because I trust you to hold them while I gather strength. Please, God, meet me in this mess that has no language, in this confusion that has no map, in this ache that doesn't want to be analyzed. Just sit with me. Just be the warmth in this cold room. Just be the breath in the silence. the comfort in the uncertainty, the steadiness beneath everything I'm afraid to acknowledge. I know you don't need explanations to offer compassion, so I know you don't require clarity to extend mercy. You see every tangled thread, every unsaid sentence, every tear that never made it to the surface. You know how long I've been holding it together. You know how long I've been pretending it doesn't hurt. You know the story behind the silence, and you love me anyway. Not in spite of it, but because of it. Because you understand that sometimes the deepest trust is shown not in words but in surrendering even without them. So tonight, I let go of the need to make sense. I let go of the need to explain. I let go of the need to be articulate in my pain. And I simply ask you, please hold this. Hold the heartbreak I haven't named. Hold the questions I'm too tired to ask. Hold the moments I replay in my head over and over, trying to rewrite them, fix them, understand them. Hold the shame that lingers in the background of my joy. Hold the disappointments I've hidden even from myself. Hold the pieces of me I don't know what to do with. It's not easy for me to be quiet. My mind always wants to figure things out, to solve, to fix, to name. But this time, I don't need resolution. I need rest. I need the peace of not having to speak. The permission to not be strong tonight. The reminder that I am loved, even when I fall silent, even when I fall apart, even when I can't tell anyone what's really going on inside. Thank you for being the one who doesn't turn away when I go quiet. Thank you for knowing that silence isn't distance. It's just the only way I know how to show up when everything feels too big. Thank you for holding space for the version of me that has nothing left to say. That version still matters to you. That version is still welcomed here. I'm tired of pretending, of smiling when I'm aching, of talking when I want to weep, of acting like I'm okay. Just because I can function, I want to learn how to be honest in my quietness, how to be real without having to perform, how to let my presence with you be enough, even when it comes without language. Some nights, healing doesn't come in answers. It comes in the quiet assurance that I'm seen, that I don't have to speak in order to be known, that my silence is not empty when you're in it, that you fill even the quietest corners of my soul with light. So, here I am, again, in a dark room, with heavy thoughts, with unnamed burdens, with tired eyes, and yet I feel you here, not judging me, not waiting for me to perform, just present, just near, just holding it all. And maybe that's what I've been aching for more than anything. Not solutions, not explanations, not even relief, just this. To be held without needing to speak, to be understood without having to explain, to be loved without having to earn it with words. Please stay near, God. Stay near while I drift into sleep with this quiet ache. Stay near as I release all the things I can't carry into your care. Stay near while I let go of the pressure to articulate, to explain, to fix, line, to fix. Be the stillness in my spinning thoughts. Be the embrace for my restless heart. Be the whisper in the silence that tells me I'm not alone. And if I wake in the middle of the night with thoughts that press again, remind me that I don't have to panic. I don't have to solve it. I don't have to find the perfect prayer. I can just breathe. I can just close my eyes again and let the silence speak for me. Because you are already listening and you already know. I keep thinking that maybe one day I'll find the right words. That somehow the things buried deep will rise to the surface as something I can make sense of. But tonight I'm beginning to understand that some things were never meant to be turned into sentences. Some heartaches are so old, they speak only in silence. Some wounds feel too sacred to name, and maybe that's not a failure. Maybe that's just the soul's way of saying, this is too big for language. Let it stay holy. Let it stay quiet. There are memories I can't even touch without flinching, and things that happened long ago, or maybe not so long ago, that still live just under the skin, and when I try to form thoughts around them, all I feel is a fog. No clear beginning, no clear end, just a moment that hurt, a feeling that still lingers. The part of me I avoid because I'm afraid of what might happen if I look too closely. You don't even need to tell you what they are. You already know. You saw it. You were there, and you didn't turn away. That comforts me more than I can explain. Knowing that you were present for the parts of my story I've never spoken aloud. Knowing that you didn't look away when I felt invisible. Knowing that you stayed even when I believed no one would. It makes the silence feel less lonely. It makes this night feel less like hiding and more like being gently seen, quietly loved, even here, even now. I don't want to keep stuffing things down. I don't want to carry years of weight in my chest and call it strength. I don't want to smile through pain and pretend that silence means healing. It doesn't. Silence is only healing when it's shared, when it's held by someone who understands, and that's what you are to me. God, not a judge of my silence, but the keeper of it. The one who gently takes what I don't say and holds it like something precious, not something shameful. So here I am again, not because I've found the courage to speak, but because I've found the safety not to. I've found a love that doesn't demand explanations, a presence that doesn't rush the process, a peace that doesn't wait on eloquence. You are that for me. You always have been. There are nights I think about everything I wish I could have said in certain moments. Words I never spoke. Apologies I never gave. Boundaries I never set. Cries for help I never let out. And they haunt me in quiet ways. They whisper, "Why didn't you speak? Why didn't you say something?" And the answer is always the same. Because I didn't know how. Because I was scared. Because the words wouldn't come. Because I thought it wouldn't matter. Because I didn't think anyone would listen. But you would have. I know that now. You were listening even then. You felt the things I swallowed. You saw the tears I blinked away. You heard the prayers I never said. And still, you stayed. You didn't wait for me to get brave enough to speak. You met me in the hiding place, in the aching, in the quiet. And now that I know that, I want to bring all of it to you. The missed chances, the unspoken truths, the moments I kept my mouth shut when my heart was screaming. I want you to have them all, because maybe if I give them to you, they won't echo so loudly. Maybe if I stop keeping them to myself, they'll lose some of their weight. Maybe if I trust you with the silence, I'll finally be free to rest. There's a kind of exhaustion that comes from being silent for too long, from holding back, from editing yourself every time you feel something, from always trying to be fine, palatable, composed. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of pretending that not speaking makes me stronger. It doesn't. It just makes me lonelier. And I don't want to be alone with these feelings anymore. So even if I still can't say it all out loud, I offer you the pieces, the flashbacks, the fears, the nights I froze instead of fighting, the things I wish had gone differently, the things I'll never fully understand, the grief that hides in strange places, the tension that never quite leaves my shoulders, the dreams I gave up on without even telling anyone, all of it, all the things I don't know how to say, I'm giving them to you. Not so you can erase them, but so you can hold them with me. So I don't have to do it alone anymore. I know you're not afraid of my silence. I know you don't measure my faith by the length or eloquence of my prayers. I know that when I bring you the ache without words, you receive it just the same. You hold it with tenderness. You breathe over it with kindness. You whisper to my spirit that I am still yours, still known, still beloved, even here, even now, even without a sound. And something in me starts to loosen. When I remember that, something begins to relax when I stop fighting to explain. When I stop trying to package my pain into neat sentences. When I stop forcing myself to be understood by others and just rest in being fully known by you. You don't need my voice to know my soul. And that truth alone lets me begin to breathe a little deeper tonight. I don't know what healing looks like tomorrow. I don't know what words I might find in the days ahead. But tonight, I have this moment, this breath, this quiet surrender, and I offer it to you. Let it be enough. Let it be a prayer. Let it be the beginning of something soft and sacred. A new way of being with you. One that doesn't depend on articulation, but on presence, on trust, on simply showing up. And if I wake in the morning still holding the things I couldn't say, meet me there too. Walk with me through the day, whispering comfort I don't even realize I need. Be the pause in my pace, the deep breath in the middle of my thoughts, the safe place my soul can turn to without having to explain why. Stay close tonight, God. Close enough to catch the words I never said. Close enough to ease the weight I never named. Close enough to let my silence be sacred in your presence. And when I close my eyes to sleep, let your peace wrap around me like something familiar. Let it be the soundless lullaby that tells me I'm safe now. I'm heard. I'm held. And I'm not alone. There's a strange kind of comfort in knowing I don't have to perform for you. That I can come here night after night without needing to change the way I feel or translate my emotions into something poetic or noble or even understandable. I don't have to be strong here. I don't have to be articulate. I don't have to be brave. I just have to be. And somehow, that's enough. Somehow, you already recognize the language of my silence better than I ever will. Tonight I'm not searching for the right metaphor. I'm not crafting a perfect sentence or reaching for wisdom. I'm simply here with the reality that there's more going on inside me than I know how to express. More questions than conclusions. More emotion than structure. More ache than clarity. And you're still listening. Still near. Still patient. That alone disarms something in me. That alone allows the pressure to fall away. Because when I try to explain everything I feel, I end up getting lost in it. The pain twists in circles, the shame gets louder, and my own voice feels like it betrays me. But in silence, I don't have to justify anything. I don't have to defend how much something hurt. I don't have to prove why it matters. I don't even have to fully understand it myself. I can just sit in it and trust that you'll sit with me. You don't need my reasons. You don't ask for timelines. You don't need me to organize my suffering into a story with a moral or a redemptive arc. You just want me as I am, in the exact moment I'm in, with whatever weight I've carried here. And if all I can do is breathe and say nothing, you'll meet me there. You'll be the quiet that doesn't feel empty. You'll be the presence that doesn't demand. You'll be the light that doesn't blind but gently glows in the corner of the room, like a lamp someone left on because they knew I'd need it eventually. That's what you are to me tonight, a quiet light, a steady presence, a listener who doesn't interrupt, a heart big enough to carry all the things I won't name. And I didn't know how much I needed that until I let myself sink into it, until I stopped trying to rise above my pain and just let myself lie down next to it, knowing you were already lying here beside me. Sometimes I forget that you don't need explanations, that you're not waiting for the perfect moment when I'm ready to talk about it, that you're not a therapist waiting for me to open up, but a God who already knows, who already understands the things I haven't even figured out yet. And when I let myself believe that, Something in my chest finally starts to soften. There are nights when the silence between me and the rest of the world feels unbearable, like I'm screaming into a pillow and no one hears. But when the silence is between you and me, it doesn't feel like isolation. It feels like invitation. Like maybe you're not asking me to explain myself. Maybe you're just asking me to let go of the need to explain. Maybe you're saying, I'm already here. You don't have to speak. I'm not going anywhere. And that's what I'm holding on to tonight. That steady, quiet promise that you are not just God of words, but God of what lives beneath them. God of the tears that never fall. God of the chest that tightens for no reason. God of the half-formed thoughts. God of the buried emotions. God of the body that remembers pain even when the mind forgets. God of the sigh at the end of a long day. God of the stillness that doesn't ask me for anything in return. So, I give you the silence again tonight. I give you the weight that still hasn't left. I give you the part of me that still resists naming what hurts. I give you the fear that if I speak it, everything will unravel, and I trust that you can hold it all without rushing me, that you can sit with me in the thick of it without needing me to perform some kind of emotional breakthrough. I'm learning that sometimes healing looks like silence, like breathing slowly in a dark room, like knowing I don't have to talk to be seen, like resting in the presence of a God who loves me exactly where I am, wordless and worn out. And tonight, that's more than enough. Because when I stop trying to force answers, I make space for peace. When I stop trying to name every emotion, I make room for comfort. When I stop demanding that everything makes sense, I open the door for grace. And you meet me right there in the moment where I finally let go. So be my peace tonight, God. Not the kind that comes from everything being okay, but the kind that comes from knowing I'm held even when things aren't. The kind that reminds me I don't have to have closure to be comforted. The kind that lets me fall asleep with unsaid things still on my heart because you've already received them. You don't need sound to respond. You don't need clarity to care. You don't need structure to soothe. You move in the quiet, and that's where I find you now. Not above me, not beyond me, but with me. As close as the air I'm breathing, as soft as the pillow beneath my head, as constant as the stars above my window. So if I say nothing else tonight, let this be enough. I trust you with what I can't say. I trust you to carry it. I trust you to hold it gently. I trust you to stay close through the quiet. And I trust that even in the silence, I am fully, deeply, endlessly loved. There's something sacred about nights like this, when everything slows down and all that's left is whatever hasn't been said. And maybe that's okay. Maybe not everything is meant to be spoken right away. Maybe some things need silence to heal, space to breathe, time to soften. And maybe you're not asking for words tonight. Maybe you're just asking for presence, for surrender, for me to stop running from the things I don't want to feel and let myself exist in them without shame, without defense, just here, just now, just held. There's relief in knowing I don't have to unpack everything before I come to you, that you're not waiting for me to present a clear outline of what hurts and why, that you're not expecting me to sort through every memory before I let you in. You come into the mess, into the fog, into the moment when I say, I don't even know what's wrong, but I feel heavy. And you don't try to fix me with answers. You just, and that's what I need more than anything tonight. As someone who stays, someone who doesn't need the full story to be kind, someone who isn't intimidated by my silence, who doesn't get uncomfortable when I go quiet, who doesn't need me to translate everything I'm feeling into something coherent. Someone who just lets me rest, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, without expecting me to explain what I'm resting from. You are that someone. You are that stillness in the middle of the unknown, that warmth when I don't even realize I'm cold, that breath that reminds me I'm still here, that presence that makes even the darkness feel less lonely. And that's why I come back to you again and again, not because I have the words, but because I know I don't need them to be with you. I used to think prayer had to be spoken, that if I wasn't saying it aloud, or writing it down, or thinking it in full sentences, it didn't count. But I know better now. I know that prayer can sound like silence, that it can feel like curling up under the covers with a heart full of things too heavy to carry alone, that it can be a single tear rolling down a cheek, a deep breath after a long pause, a quiet ache with no words to wrap around it, and you receive it all the same. You never shame me for not knowing how to speak. You don't turn away when I can't find my voice. You just come closer. You come into the room, into the pain, into the stillness, and you stay until the silence no longer feels like a burden, but like a balm. There are moments when I wonder if you really hear me, when the world is so loud and my thoughts so tangled that it feels like my soul is whispering into a void. But then something small happens, a moment of peace, a memory of kindness, a breath that feels easier than the last, and I remember that you're always answering, just not always in the ways I expect. Not in thunder or lightning, but in the softness of a quiet that doesn't leave me empty. Tonight, I don't need to be rescued. I just need to be reminded that I'm not abandoned, that I'm not wrong for being quiet, that I'm not broken because I don't have the language for what I'm feeling, that even in this silence, I am still connected to something holy, to someone who sees every shadow in my soul and chooses to stay anyway. So I let myself be here, unpolished, unscripted, quiet, not trying to be profound, not trying to be brave, just trying to be honest, trying to be still, trying to trust that this too is prayer, that this too is sacred ground, that this night, heavy as it is, can still be holy if I let it be. Let it be holy, God. Let it be enough. Let it hold space for the things I don't yet understand. Let it breathe for the things I'm not ready to face. Let it whisper peace to the parts of me that haven't known peace in a while. Let it be the beginning of a new kind of healing, one that starts not with words, but with rest. You know where I've been carrying more than I can hold. You know the stories I've kept locked away, the grief I've never shared, the confusion that lingers in the corners of my mind. And you don't ask me to sort it out tonight. You just ask me to let you in. And even if all I can do is crack the door open an inch, you still step gently inside. You don't force yourself into my wounds. You don't barge into the places I'm protecting. You wait, patient, kind, ready. And when I finally say, okay, I don't know what to say, but I don't want to hold this alone anymore, you respond not with judgment, but with presence, with peace, with arms that don't brush me, don't squeeze too tight, don't demand an explanation, just arms that hold, just love that listens. So tonight, I let go of the pressure to explain myself. I let go of the idea that I have to earn comfort by being articulate. I let go of the fear that silence makes me invisible, and I lean into the truth that silence can also make me feel seen, because you are here, not waiting for me to perform, not waiting for me to be okay, just here, just holding what I can't say out loud. And in this stillness, I find something unexpected, not answers, but rest, not solutions, but softness, not clarity, but closeness. And maybe that's what I've been needing all along. Let me sleep tonight, knowing that nothing has to be resolved for me to be loved, that nothing has to be spoken for me to be heard, that I don't have to figure it all out before I can rest in your arms. Let me sleep knowing that you're holding everything I'm not ready to carry, everything I don't know how to release, everything I've kept silent, hoping one day I'd have the words. Let this silence be my offering. Let this ache be my prayer. Let this moment be enough. And if I wake in the night heavy and unsure, remind me again that you're still here, still listening, still holding what I can't say, still whispering over me in a voice deeper than language. You are mine. Even now, even in this, sometimes the only prayer I have left is the one I don't say, the one that sits in my chest like a sigh I haven't let out, the one that waits behind my lips but never quite forms, the one that sounds like a pause, like a breath caught between thoughts, like a moment that stretches on into the dark and doesn't ask for anything except to be felt. That's the prayer I bring you tonight, not made of words, but of weight, not filled with requests, but with presence, the kind of prayer that only you know how to hear. And I trust you with it. Even when I don't trust myself to understand what's going on inside me, I trust that you already do. You know what I'm carrying, even when I pretend it's nothing. You know what I'm afraid of, even when I smile through it. You know what I've buried so deep that even I forget it's there until something small cracks me open and I don't have the words to describe why it hurts. You don't need the explanation. That's what makes you different from everyone else. You don't rush to connect the dots or fix the puzzle. You don't need me to trace every emotion back to a cause before you step in. You don't ask me to narrate my pain before you care about it. You just show up. You just stay. And tonight, I need that more than anything. The staying, the witness, the safety of knowing that I'm not alone in the space between sentences, that the silence I carry isn't empty. It's full of things I haven't been able to name, and you are already sitting gently in the middle of all of them. You know the nights I go quiet and pretend it's just because I'm tired, when really it's because I don't know how to untangle what I'm feeling. You know the way I sometimes stay busy to avoid this stillness, the way I try to distract myself from whatever's pulsing just beneath the surface. But when I stop, when the noise fades and the world quiets down, it's all still here, and I don't want to run from it anymore. I want to trust that even this silence belongs, that even this quiet ache has a place with you. So I bring you everything I can't explain, every feeling that never found a voice, every moment I wanted to speak but didn't, every time I told myself it wasn't worth mentioning, wasn't serious enough, wasn't something anyone would understand, every time I swallowed what I needed to say because I didn't want to take up space, because I was scared, because I didn't know how. I bring you the things I've left unsaid for so long that they've become part of me, the memories I never gave words to, the longings I tucked away, the sorrow I've learned to carry like background noise, the guilt I've mistaken for truth, the disappointments I've buried in quiet corners of my heart. You see all of it, not one moment hidden, not one silence ignored, and the beauty of it is that you don't recoil. You don't tell me I should have spoken sooner. You don't say, why didn't you come to me before? You just receive it, all of it, with love that doesn't keep score, with kindness that doesn't ask for a perfect explanation, with a presence that says, you're safe here. Your woes were. That changes everything. Because the more I trust you with the parts of me that have never been named, the more I begin and believe that maybe I don't have to carry them alone anymore. Maybe I don't have to hold my breath through the hard parts. Maybe I can exhale. Maybe I can let go. Even if I'm still quiet. Even if the words never come. Even if all I ever do is show up and say, here I am again. Still not ready to talk, but still needing. And you meet me there, not disappointed, not impatient, just steady, just soft, just ready to hold what I can't carry. So tonight, I rest in that, in you, in the arms of a God who understands silence, who interprets the language of sighs and stillness and skip beats, who hears what I mean even when I don't know how to say it, who holds space for me to be human, not performative, not productive, not polished, just human, just present, just real. I don't know what healing looks like from here. I don't know how long this quiet season will last. I don't know if I'll ever find the words for all that I've held inside, that I'm starting to believe that maybe I don't have to, that maybe peace doesn't come from finally explaining myself. Maybe it comes from finally not needing to, from being okay with the stillness, from finding God not just in the speaking, but in the being. So, be here tonight, God, in this room, in this heart, in this silence. Be here like you always are, but let me feel it tonight. Let me notice the way you draw close when I pull away. Let me sense the comfort of knowing I don't have to be loud to be loved. Let me remember that you've always been fluent in the language of the unsaid. And if this silence stays with me tomorrow, if I wake still carrying what I can't describe, walk with me through it. Whisper peace in moments I feel overwhelmed. Remind me that I don't have to force a breakthrough, that I can be gentle with myself, that I can move slowly, that I can trust the quiet to do its work, just as I trust you to stay near. I give you the things I've never said out loud, not because I finally know how to say them, but because I finally believe you don't need me to. You know, and you love me still. And that's more than enough. So tonight, I won't try to make a speech out of my soul. I'll just rest. I'll just breathe. I'll just let my silence stretch into the dark, trusting that somewhere in the quiet, you're holding all the pieces I don't know how to carry. There's something in me that always believed silence was failure, that if I couldn't put something into words, it meant I wasn't facing it, that if I didn't talk it out, I wasn't brave, that if I kept something inside, it must mean I was ashamed. But I don't believe that anymore. I've come to know a different kind of silence, one that isn't about fear, but about reverence, one that doesn't hide the truth, but protects it, one that doesn't speak because it's too sacred for noise. That's the kind of silence I bring you tonight, not because I'm avoiding what hurts, but because I want to offer it gently, not in pieces, not in polished phrases, but as it really is, raw, tender, and real. I want to lay it before you without flinching, without apology, without rushing to explain why it matters. I want to trust that you will see it and honor it, even if it never becomes something I say aloud. And maybe that's the real courage, coming before you, with the parts of me that haven't been spoken into the world, not because I'm ashamed, but because they're still forming, because they're still healing, because they've lived in the quiet so long that bringing them into the light would feel like asking them to run before they've learned how to stand. So I won't force it tonight. I won't push myself to say more than I can. I won't reach for answers I'm not ready to hold. I'll just stay here with you, in the dark, in the stillness, in the safety of being fully known, even when I say nothing at all. You have always been the one who listens first, the one who waits without judgment, the one who stays even when I go silent, and I need that right now. I need someone who doesn't need a clear sentence to care, someone who isn't scared off by confusion, someone who isn't waiting for a breakthrough to show up with comfort. I need you. I need the way you hold space for me without pressure. I need the way you hear what my silence is saying without making me translate it. I need the way you show me that I don't have to be fixed to be loved, that I don't have to be understood to be saved, that I don't have to be understood to be saved. Because the truth is, I've never been good at saying everything I feel. I've always felt a little slower to speak, a little quicker to hold things in. I've always worried that if I tried to explain what's inside, it wouldn't make sense, or worse, it would be too much. So I've gotten used to keeping things close, to wrapping my emotions in silence, to building walls around my heart with quiet instead of words. But you don't ask me to tear them all down at once. You don't rush me out of the silence. You wait. You walk with me around those walls. You sit with me beside them. You whisper to the parts of me still hiding and say, "Take your time. I'm not leaving." And slowly, in that kind of love, something softens, something shifts. Not in big dramatic ways, but in small, steady ones. A little more breath in my chest, a little more peace in my thoughts, a little more space inside to simply be. That's what you're giving me tonight. Not answers, not solutions, just space, just nearness, just the permission to rest in your presence without performing, without explaining, without forcing something to be spoken before it's ready. You know how much I've tried to be okay, how hard I've worked to hold it all together, how often I've pushed through instead of pausing to feel. And you're not here to scold me for that. You're not here to say, "Why didn't you come sooner?" You're just here, ready, present, holding what I can't hold by myself. So I give you the silence again, not because I'm stuck, but because this silence is a bridge, not a barrier. A way of reaching for you when the words won't come. A way of trusting that my value doesn't disappear when my voice goes quiet. A way of letting you love me in the most honest, unfiltered way possible. And it brings relief. It really does. To sit here without needing to speak, to let the silence wrap around me like a soft blanket, to breathe in and out, knowing that every breath is enough prayer for tonight, to stop striving, to stop explaining, to stop pretending that if I don't say it, it doesn't matter. Because it does matter, even if it stays unsaid, even if it stays unnamed, even if no one else ever hears it. It matters to you, and you're not waiting for it to turn into language to hold it close. You're already holding it now. Let that be enough, God. Let this moment be enough. Let this silence be holy, not heavy. Let this quiet not feel like isolation, but invitation. Let me rest in the comfort of a God who understands the deepest things about me without needing me to verbalize a single one. Stay near as I fall asleep tonight. Let your nearness be the sound I can't hear, but feel. Let your love be the blanket that covers every unspoken ache. Let your presence fill the space between my thoughts, and let my silence, as full as it is, rise to you like the truest kind of prayer. The longer I sit in this silence with you, the more I realize how deeply I've needed it. Not just tonight, but for a long time. I've needed this pause, this place where I'm not expected to show up with answers or strength or neatly folded pain. I've needed the freedom to bring you the pieces that never quite made it into words, the broken thoughts, the uncertain feelings, the quiet wounds that didn't seem big enough to name, but never really stopped aching. I didn't even know I was waiting for a space like this until I found it in you. You're not like anyone else I've ever tried to explain myself to. You don't rush to understand. You don't lean forward with an agenda. You don't interrupt my silence with assumptions. You just remain gentle, patient, loving, and in that steadiness, I'm learning to breathe again. I'm learning to rest in ways I didn't think were possible when I was carrying everything by myself. Because I've carried a lot in silence, more than I've let on, more than even I realized. I've held it in my muscles, in my jaw, in the spaces behind my eyes. I've swallowed words that might have cracked me open. I've nodded and smiled when I wanted to cry. I've told myself to be strong when all I wanted was to fall apart. And you saw All of it. You saw every time I said, I'm fine, when I wasn't. Every time I held it together in public and unraveled behind closed doors. Every time I said nothing because I didn't want to be a burden, because I didn't want to be misunderstood, because I wasn't sure anyone could handle the truth of how much it hurt. But you never asked me to keep it all in. You never expected me to protect you from my pain. You just waited. You just listened beneath the silence. You just let your love be big enough to hold what I couldn't say. And now, here I am again. Finally still. Finally quiet. Finally ready to stop pretending that silence means nothing's wrong. Because something has been wrong. Something inside me has been aching for space to speak without words, to be seen without having to perform, to be understood without having to explain. And you give me that. You give me all of that and more. You don't need my healing to begin with a speech. You don't require eloquence as a prerequisite for care. You just ask for honesty, for presence, for me to show up as I am, even if that means showing up in silence. So I do. I'm here. I don't have a long list of things to say. I don't have a clear path forward. I just have this heart, tired and tender, hoping you'll hold it. And I believe you will, because you've done it before. On other nights like this, when I thought the silence would swallow me, you turned it into sanctuary. You made the stillness a soft place to land. You turned the absence of words into the fullness of your presence. So tonight, I stopped trying to speak what won't come. I stopped trying to make sense of what hurts. I stopped trying to turn my ache into something useful. I let it just be. I let myself just be. And I give it to you, like a gift I don't know how to wrap. Take it, God. Take the grief I never named. The fears I've minimized, the regrets I've carried alone, the shame that still whispers when I think I'm over it, the memories that replay without warning, the emotions that catch in my throat and never quite make it to the surface. Take all of it. Not so you can demand an explanation, but so you can hold it until I'm ready to see it through your eyes. Until I'm ready to let light touch the places I've kept hidden. Until I'm strong enough to face what I've avoided. Or maybe until I realize I never had to be strong at all. Just willing. Willing to sit in the silence and know I'm not alone in it. Willing to trust that even without words, this night has meaning. This moment is sacred. This breath is prayer. You've never needed more than that from me. Just my being here. Just my heart cracked open enough for you to enter. Just my silence surrendered into your care. And so I surrender it. Every unspoken thing, every unprocessed thought, every emotion I didn't know what to do with, every part of me that has waited quietly for someone to listen without needing sound. You are that someone, and I am grateful beyond words. Let this night be a soft one. Let it be a place where silence is safe. Let it be where my healing begins, not with a breakthrough or a dramatic moment, but with stillness, with closeness, with the knowledge that even if nothing changes by morning, I will have been held, and that is everything. Be with me as I sleep. Let your peace be the comfort that silence couldn't bring on its own. Let your presence be the weight that replaces what I've carried. Let your love be louder than every thought I don't have words for. Let it be enough. Let it be all I need. And if I wake in the night, unsure of why my chest feels heavy or my eyes feel damp, meet me in that moment too. Remind me gently that you are still here, still listening, still loving me in the places that can't speak. Thank you for being a God who understands silence, a God who isn't intimidated by quiet hearts, a God who doesn't leave when the conversation fades, a God who is most present in the pauses. Thank you for holding what I can't say, for holding me when I don't have the strength to say much of anything at all. I think I used to believe that being close to you meant always having something to say, that a relationship with you was measured by how much I could express, how well I could articulate my thoughts and prayers. But now I know better. I know that sometimes the closest I feel to you is in the moments I say nothing at all. When I stop trying to impress you with devotion and just let you meet me in my need. When I don't search for the right words, but simply let you hold me in the silence. Because there are some nights when I don't want to talk, not because I don't love you, but because the feelings are too deep for language, because the ache doesn't want to be named, because naming it would feel like waking it up again. And maybe I don't have the energy to do that right now. Maybe all I can do is lie here in the quiet and trust that you're already aware of what I'm carrying. You've never needed a sound to hear my soul. You've never required my voice to understand my heart. You know what trembles beneath the surface. You know what lives in the places no one else sees. You know what memories still sting even though I haven't spoken them aloud in years. And somehow that doesn't scare you. It draws you closer. So, I'm letting the silence stay tonight. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to feel guilty for not having a long prayer or a full list of words. I'm not going to force something I don't have. I'm just going to be here with you, breathing, resting, letting the quiet become a conversation all its own. There's a kind of trust in that, a surrender, a deep belief that if you're really God, if you're really who I've come to know you to be, then you're more than capable of holding the things I can't say. You're more than able to sit with me in the blank space between emotions and give it meaning. And I think that's what I long for most. Not the right words, not the perfect resolution, just the peace that comes from knowing I'm not carrying this silence alone, that even if no one else hears it, you do. That even if I never say it out loud, you still understand. That even if I never find the courage to speak it, you still stay. You always stay. That means more than I can explain. To know that you're not frightened by my silence. That you don't walk away when the conversation fades. That you aren't uncomfortable when the pain has no name. You are stillness itself, not the kind that leaves me empty, but the kind that fills every inch of the quiet with compassion, with safety, with warmth. You let the silence be holy, and I've never needed that more than I do now. Because there are things I've buried deep inside, not to be dishonest, not to hide, but because I didn't know how else to live with them. I've kept them tucked away because they felt too heavy to name, too complicated, too unresolved. And for a long time, I thought they had to stay there, that if I didn't know how to speak about them, they weren't ready to be seen. But you've shown me something different, that even if the pain isn't ready to be spoken, it's still ready to be held. That even if I can't name the grief, you can still comfort it. That even if I can't articulate the longing, you can still meet it. You don't wait for my clarity to begin your care. You don't ask for language to begin your healing. You just show up, fully, lovingly, silent. So I welcome you into this space again, into the room that holds the quietest parts of me, into the heart that has gone still tonight, not because it's cold, but because it's tired, into the thoughts that drift without conclusion, into the breath that slows, not from peace yet, but from surrender. I'm not asking for answers tonight. I'm asking for company, for presence, for the kind of peace that doesn't require an explanation. The kind that says, you don't have to speak. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to be okay. You just have to let me in. So I let you in, into the hush between sentences, into the pause between thoughts, into the places where I've stopped trying to be anything other than exactly what I am. Quiet, open, and healed. Let this night be enough, God. Let the silence be a lullaby. Let the weight I'm carrying sink into your care. Let the things I've never told anyone settle softly in your presence. And let my heart, without needing to speak, know that it has been heard. If I dream tonight, let my dreams be kind. Let them bring light, not confusion. Let them restore, not disturb. And if my mind stays awake, looping through things I can't control, hold it gently until it settles, until it believes again that it is safe to rest. Thank you for being patient with me, for never rushing me out of the stillness, for never needing more from me than what I'm able to give. Some nights, that's just my breath, just my being here, just my willingness to stay open, even when I don't know what to say. And you call that enough. You call me enough. So tonight, I'll rest in that. I'll rest in you. In the quiet, in the love that doesn't demand, but delights in simply being with me, that doesn't measure me by my prayers, but meets me in my pauses. You hold what I can't say, and you hold it so gently. That's more healing than 1,000 words. It's strange how quiet can be both a weight and a relief. At first it feels heavy, like something's missing, like something should be said, like I'm supposed to find the words or fill the silence with explanations. But the longer I sit in it, the more I realize this silence isn't empty. It's holding me. It's making room for things I didn't know I needed to feel. It's becoming a gentle container for all the emotions I never gave myself permission to unpack. And you're here in all of it. Not pacing the room, waiting for me to speak. Not tapping your foot, waiting for some sign of faith. Just resting beside me. Just present. Just quiet too. And there's something so comforting about that, knowing you're not afraid to be still with me. That you're not trying to fill the space. That you're not fixing or correcting or teaching. You're just being. And you're inviting me to do the same. I think I've spent so much of my life feeling like I had to do something with my pain. Like I had to justify it. Explain it. Turn it into purpose. And maybe that's true sometimes. Maybe there's a place for healing that moves outward, that creates, that speaks. But tonight isn't about that. Tonight is about being held, about finally admitting how much I've needed to be quiet without guilt, how much I've longed to be comforted without being expected to give anything back, how much I've needed someone to understand what I can't say. And you do. You understand what my silence means. You see the layers beneath it, the grief, the exhaustion, the longing, the hope that's still there under it all. You read between the lines of my stillness and find the places where I'm barely holding on, and you don't flinch. You don't pull away. You stay. So I stopped trying to be strong tonight. I stopped trying to be eloquent. I stopped trying to be brave or hopeful or even faithful in some performative way. I just let myself be tired. I let myself be quiet. I let myself be human and hurting and healing all at once. I let myself be someone who needs you, not as a miracle worker or a fixer, but as a listener, as a steady hand in the dark, as a quiet presence beside my unrest. Let this silence do its work. Let it move through the places in me that words can't touch. Let it soften the hardened corners of my heart. Let it cradle the parts of me that feel too raw to speak aloud. Let it teach me that healing isn't always loud or fast or clear. Sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it's silent. Sometimes it looks like staying in the quiet long enough to realize I'm not alone in it. You are here. That's what matters. That's what carries me when I can't carry anything else. Your nearness, your tenderness, your ability to sit with me without expectation. That's the miracle tonight. Not that everything is better. Not that I've found all the answers. but that I don't have to have them. That you're okay with me exactly as I am, wordless, weary, worn out, willing to be still with you. And that's all I need. Let my breath be the prayer I offer. Let my heartbeat be the hymn I bring. Let my stillness be worship. Let my tears, if they come, be holy water that tells the truth. Even when my mouth can, let this night be sacred, not because I said the right things, but because I trusted you with the things I couldn't say. And in that trust, I find rest. Real rest. Not the kind that numbs or distracts, but the kind that anchors me, that steadies me, that tells my nervous system and my soul that I'm safe now, that I don't have to hold it all, that I don't have to fix what's broken in me, that I don't have to wake up with a plan. I just have to sleep knowing that you are God and I am not. And that's not a reason to feel small, but a reason to finally exhale. Thank you for being big enough to hold the things I couldn't say today. Thank you for being soft enough to meet me in my silence. Thank you for seeing all of me and staying anyway. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. I don't know what thoughts I'll wake up with, or what emotions will rise before I even open my eyes. But I know this. I'll still be yours. Still held. Still safe. Still seen. Even in the silence. Especially in the silence. So I closed my eyes tonight, not with a final word, but with a quiet trust that you're already surrounding me, that you're already wrapping your peace around the loudest parts of my mind, that you're already gently collecting the pieces I left scattered throughout the day. Let me rest here. No more striving, no more searching, no more trying to be anything other than exactly who I am in this moment. Someone who can't say it all, but someone who still believes. You hear every unspoken thing. There's a kind of tired that sleep alone doesn't fix, a kind of heaviness that doesn't lift just because the lights are off and the world is quiet. It's the weight of things unsaid, of feelings unprocessed, of moments that passed without anyone ever knowing how much they meant or how much they hurt. It's what I bring to you again tonight, not because I know what to do with it, but because I don't, and I've finally stopped trying to carry it alone. There's a comfort in letting go of the need to explain, in giving up the performance of clarity, in accepting that I might never fully find the words for what's been going on inside me, and that you're okay with that, that you never asked me to translate my pain into poetry before you'd hold it. You just asked me to bring it just as it is. However it is, even if all I can do is sit here and offer you the silence. And that's what I'm doing now, not as a last resort, but as an act of trust. Because baby, silence isn't a sign of absence. Maybe it's where real presence begins. Maybe it's the place where I finally stop trying to be understood and start letting myself be known. Maybe this is what surrender sounds like. Not shouting, not pleading, not eloquence, but stillness, but breath, but simply showing up. So I show up again, God, with the weight I can't explain, with the ache I can't describe, with the questions I stopped asking out loud, with the pieces of me that don't form sentences, just feelings, with the things I thought I had to get over, the things I thought I had to hide, the things I thought would disqualify me from being loved by you. And you meet me with quiet mercy, with a stillness that doesn't accuse, with a presence that doesn't flinch, with a love that doesn't need me to be louder or better or clearer. You just stay. And something in me begins to unclench. I didn't realize how tightly I was holding on until I found a space where it was safe to let go. I didn't know how deeply I'd buried certain things until I stopped talking and just listened to the silence. And in that silence, I heard something I hadn't heard in a long time. You don't have to do this alone. You never did. That sentence didn't come in my voice. It didn't come from the world around me. It came from somewhere softer, deeper, from the kind of stillness that can only be holy from you. And it made me breathe differently. Not because everything suddenly made sense, but because I knew I was no longer the only one holding this. You were holding it too. You were holding me. And that's what I need tonight. Not solutions, not breakthroughs, just the deep, steady comfort of knowing I'm not the only one who sees what's unspoken in me. I don't have to convince you that this matters. I don't have to explain why it still hurts. I don't have to apologize for being quiet. You already know. You already care. You already love me in the middle of it all. I'll let go of the need to wrap things up in pretty endings. I'll let go of the pressure to turn pain into wisdom overnight. I'll let go of the voice in me that says I should have healed by now. And I accept that maybe silence is part of the healing. Maybe silence is where the soil softens again. Maybe this quiet night is not an in-between, but a beginning. If there's something you want to say to me in this silence, I'm listening. But even if you say nothing at all tonight, I trust that you are still here, still holding me, still loving me, still turning this quiet into something sacred. I've spent so much of my life trying to be understood, trying to say things the right way, trying to speak up at the right time. But here, with you, none of that pressure exists. I'm allowed to be unfinished. I'm allowed to be mid-sentence. I'm allowed to sit in the pause and still be fully received. So I let this silence stretch as far as it needs to. Let it hold the tears I didn't cry. Let it carry the weight of all the moments I never had the words for. Let it speak to the parts of me that language always failed. Let it be the sound of you drawing near. Let it be the lullaby that no one else hears but me. I don't need to be brave tonight. I just need to be honest. And the most honest thing I can say right now is that I don't know what to say. But I still want you close. And I believe that's enough. Thank you for being near, for listening, for holding the things I never gave voice to, for making the silence feel like a home, not a void. Let me sleep now in the safety of your presence. Let my body relax, knowing that everything I didn't say is still known. Let my soul rest, knowing that you are carrying what I can't. Let my heart be reminded again and again that I am deeply, completely, and unconditionally loved. Even here, even in this silence, there's a kind of holiness in this quiet that I never used to recognize. I used to think silence meant distance, that if I wasn't praying out loud or journaling my thoughts or crying out for help, I wasn't really praying at all. But now I know better. Now I understand that there are prayers without words, prayers that sound like breath, prayers that feel like sitting in the dark with open hands and a tired heart, prayers that carry no shape or form, only presence, only trust. And that's what this is. This is my prayer tonight. The silence, the breathing, the way I keep returning to you, even though I don't know what else to say, the way I sit here without needing to perform, the way I let my soul rest without demanding it to speak, the way I believe you're here even in the absence of language, that belief, that trust, that returning over and over again to this stillness, that is my prayer. I'm not hiding from you. I'm not lost. I'm not cold or withdrawn. I'm just quiet. And I'm learning that that's okay. I'm learning that silence isn't always something to escape, that it can be a sacred pause, that it can hold more truth than 1,000 spoken words, that it can become a home for all the things I've been too afraid or too tired to say. And I think you've been waiting here in the quiet, not to correct me, not to coax words out of me, but to remind me that I don't need to be loud to be loved, that my relationship with you doesn't disappear when my voice goes still, that I can come to you speechless, thoughtless, undone, and you'll still call it enough. Because you don't measure my devotion by how much I say. You don't weigh my prayers against their eloquence. You don't expect me to fill the silence for it to be meaningful. You already hear the things I haven't spoken. You already know the reasons behind the sigh. You already understand the weight I've been carrying beneath the surface. So I stop trying to fill the space. I stop trying to reach for something more impressive or profound. I just let the silence settle. I let it drape over the room like a soft blanket. I let it carry the parts of me that are still unraveling. I let it hold the tension, the tiredness, the truth of my heart. I let it do what only silence can do. Make room for you to speak or not speak, but always to stay. And in that staying, I feel seen. Not because you say something loud, but because I feel you close. Because I sense the shift in the atmosphere when I finally allow myself to stop performing, when I give myself permission to be quiet, when I remember that I am fully known without ever having to explain myself to you. Then that's the kind of relationship I want to live in, one where I don't have to fight for space, one where I don't have to convince you to stay, one where the silence between us isn't filled with pressure, but with peace. You are that kind of love. You are that kind of presence. And I need you in this form tonight, not as the God who fixes everything, not as the voice thundering with answers, but as the soft breath in the dark, as the stillness that holds me without needing anything in return, as the one who sees what I haven't said and doesn't make me say it before offering comfort. So I offer you my silence, not as a sign of failure, but as a gift. The most honest one I have to give tonight. The quiet is the doorway I walk through to be near you. The hush is the language my heart speaks when my mind is tired. The stillness is the safest place I've found in days. You never asked me to clean everything up before I let you in. You never told me to come back when I had more to say. You never turned your face when I stopped talking. You've always been the God who stayed, the God who sat with me through every version of me. The loud, the lost, the angry, the weeping, the numb, the silent. Let it do what it came to do, soften me, slow me, soothe me. Make space inside my soul for peace to grow again. Let it wrap around the things I haven't said and bless them with gentleness. Let it become a resting place, not a holding cell. Let it remind me that I don't need to have the words for you to know the need. So tonight, I'll lean into the quiet and find comfort. I'll let it be my prayer, my offering, my resting place. I'll let it become a sacred echo of everything my soul has been trying to say without sound. And I trust you to hear it all. It's the end of the night now. The world has gone quiet around me, and I'm still here in this silence with you. I haven't found the words. I didn't suddenly remember how to say everything I've kept tucked away. But somehow, I feel lighter. Somehow, just by sitting with you in the stillness, something in me feels less alone, less afraid, less weighed down by the pressure to understand what I'm feeling or explain why it hurts. Somehow, silence became enough. Somehow, you made it enough. I didn't think that was possible. I thought I needed to speak for the healing to begin. I thought I had to lay everything out, name every ache, confess every uncertainty. But you've shown me a softer way, a quieter grace, a kind of love that doesn't need a speech, a kind of peace that arrives not through answers, but through nearness. And now I see that sometimes what heals us most isn't what we say. It's who we sit with in the silence. You sat with me through every word I didn't say, through every breath I held, through every thought I couldn't untangle. You stayed. That's what I'll remember about this night, not what I said, but how you listened, how you met me in the very place I thought would disqualify me from your presence, how you turned an empty room into sacred ground, How you heard prayers I never prayed out loud and treated them as holy. That's what I'll carry into tomorrow. Not the perfect conclusion, not the tidy ending, just the memory of being heard without ever having to speak. And maybe that's what I needed all along. I've spent so much of my life trying to prove I'm okay, trying to be strong, trying to wrap pain in the right words so I don't seem weak or needy or dramatic. But tonight reminded me that I don't need to prove anything to you, that you've never asked me to impress you, that you're not keeping score, that you don't flinch when I fall silent or pull away or close my mouth around something I can't name, and that staying, it healed something in me, something I didn't know was broken, something I didn't know was waiting to be seen, not fixed. So thank you, God. Thank you for staying when I said nothing. Thank you for speaking in the silence. Thank you for understanding what no one else could have understood. Thank you for letting my stillness be sacred, for letting my quiet become communion, for not asking me to be anything more than present. That's all I was tonight, present, no performance, no revelation, no breakthrough, just here, and you were here too. That's what made this holy. And now, as I lay down my thoughts and close my eyes, I let go of the last bit of pressure to be anything else tonight. I let go of the need to figure out what happens next. I let go of the tension in my chest, the overthinking, the hidden tears, the unspoken memories. I let it all slip into your hands. And I don't need to check in on it anymore. I don't need to fix it before I sleep. I don't need to find closure. Because I've already found comfort. I've already found presence. I've already found a safe place to leave the things I couldn't carry into tomorrow. So I give it to you. One last time tonight, not in a dramatic gesture, not in a desperate cry, just a quiet handing over of everything I never said.